Truth be told, every champion has felt it. Every president has felt it. Every king has felt it. Every lion has felt it. Every winner has felt it. Every soldier has felt it. Every victorious person has felt it. The urge to quit.
Crossroads, life's told, life goes. I gotta win. W my lot, damn, you can't rewind it.
Hey, how are you guys doing today? This is your host, Sonia, with the Remember Who You Are 222 podcast. And I have my guest, Jeff, here with me today. How are you doing, Jeff?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Excited to have you on today. You're actually my first fellow veteran that I have on my show. So,
wow, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm excited about the conversation. So Jeff is actually a combat veteran who was unhappy and angry. He had a wonderful experience where someone reached out and was able to choose a new path. He now likes to give others the opportunity that he was offered. He's done many things, lived a lot of places, lots of careers, and lived all over. Nothing brings him more joy than spreading light, love, laughter, and truth. And these things bring healing. So tell us a little bit about, I guess your journey and how you turned your mindset around, and if you had like an awakening of some sort.
Well, I guess I'll start all the way back, right? I had this great childhood, right? Like I have no, grew up, parents were married with the Black Hawk Down incident and all that stuff. But, and so I had a great military experience, really. But I was angry all the time. Like I was just unhappy. And I think that was exacerbated after the military. The military kind of gave me a sense of purpose, at least a little bit, for a while. And like I said in the intro, I've moved around. I've done a whole lot of stuff because I've never really been happy in one spot. And it got worse and worse and worse. Was never physically abusive towards anybody, but I would play these mind games, and I was just, I consider myself an intelligent guy. And so I would mess with people, and nobody took the worst of it than my wife. Right. So, we're separated, and I am down in the dumps. I was over 400 pounds. I was literally killing myself with food, just really, really unhappy. And I'm sitting in a basement. So we're separated, and I'm living in some dude's basement that I barely knew. Paid him, I don't know, a few $100 a month or something. And I'm living in Colorado. It's a beautiful day outside. It was in May, I think. It was just gorgeous, and I didn't want to be outside. I just wanted to sit in the dark, isolate, be unhappy, eat. And a thing came up on my computer for a class, right? And I felt like it was just God reaching out to me. And, so I went and I took this. I'll tell you, it's an NLP class. I get nothing from these people. If I mention a training or something that I've done, I get nothing from these people. I just took this simple little NLP class. I was selling real estate at the time, and NLP to me was the language of sale. It was told to me the language of sales, right? And I'm like, it'll help me be a better salesman. It was really cheap. They do a scholarship model, right? So you get the first class is cheap, and we've seen this. It works, right? Yeah. So, it does.
I actually did an NLP class.
Yeah. And I'm sitting in this basement, and I'm so unhappy. And this class comes up, and it was like $193 or something. And I'm like, holy cow. I charge more than that for a weekend. I'm a firearms instructor. And I'm like, I charge more than that for a firearms class on the weekend. So I'm just going to do this. It's a 4-day class. I'm going to get something out of it. And as I said, I was selling real estate at the time. And that following Monday, I was just separated from my wife. But that following Monday, I was going to see her for a real estate meeting. And I had changed in those 4 days. I had changed so precipitously that, you know, I had kind of done a thing like I didn't know how I was going to see her. I hadn't seen her in a few weeks, and she literally almost ran across the room to me and said, "You've changed. You know, what did you?" And I was married. So at this point in time, I was married 28 years, something like that, 29 years. And so like she knew me, right? Like she knew something had changed. And it was just amazing. And that was the catalyst that kind of opened my eyes, if you will, to something else being out there. And you know, I tell the story that, but I was literally sitting in there and I'm like, if I stay in this basement one more weekend, like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Right. Like, I mean, we all know the statistics and veterans taking their own lives. But I'm like, I'm just not going to make it. I cannot do this anymore. I have to change something. And it really felt like divine intervention in my life. And then the people at the training were just amazing. And caring. And, yeah. And I sold a bunch of guns to, right, which is funny because, you know, I'm like, I buy guns, I don't sell guns. And I sold a bunch of guns, honestly, to some people, other instructors I knew, and I sold them to pay for the advanced training and to go on. And that in that 2-week training, they do a thing called MER, which is mental emotional release. It's timeline therapy, and it's fantastic for somebody with PTSD. I'm not sure I like the term still to this day. Every single person on this planet has had trauma of some sort.
Yeah, I understand that.
And you know, for me, I kind of maybe use that as the catalyst to push me forward. And I'd known him for 10 days at that point in time. He interrupts a conversation the other two guys are having, and they're all just looking at me and their mouths are agape. They're like, you know, they're just kind of, and I'm like, what's, you know, and he said, "You're effing younger." I don't know if I can curse on your,
yeah,
okay.
Go ahead. Like, I'm not.
And they like took a picture, and at that point in time, you know, I kind of reconnected with my wife because I had changed so much. I was no longer angry. And that was such a big, like, you know, I hadn't found purpose. I hadn't found any of that yet. I was still in that process, but I was just not angry anymore. I just let so much stuff go. And then after this breakthrough session, like, I was just happy all the time. Like, it was almost annoyingly happy, right? Like they took a picture and sent it to my wife, and she's like, "Oh my God, you're younger." Well, like, how did that happen? Like literally, I had almost age regressed. I'd lost 5 years of my life. I'm not lost 5 years of my life, but I was 5 years younger, and it was you know, it's interesting why we get into this, and I don't know. I haven't gone back and done the research on your story exactly, all of it. But you know, I had started out and I was like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to help other veterans. Right. That was why I do it. And after I'd done these trainings, I did nothing at all with it. I wasn't helping any other veterans. I was just still working on me. And as much as we want to do stuff for other people, you know, you gotta fix the man in the mirror first. Right. So, you know, it took me, when COVID came about, I actually, they continued to do live trainings, and I'd said I would assist teaching, and I like to be a man of my word. And COVID came about, and I had moved to Indiana from Colorado, and I said I was going to assist at the Colorado training. And they were having trouble getting assistance because people were squeamish about live trainings and all that stuff. And I just wasn't. If it's my time, it's my time. I don't need a mask.
Yeah, you're like, I'll just do
I
it.
do any of that, right? Like, I was, And I'm like, I've been through worse.
Mhm.
And so it pained me, but I literally I drove back and to assist at this class. And the at that point in time, there was a woman in the class, and you kind of give your introduction, why you're assisting, and things. And there was a woman in the class that came up to me at the end of the class, and quite honestly, I don't even know her name. But I remember this woman. I remember her face. At the end of the class, she's like, I can't even imagine. She goes, she kind of looked at me for a couple seconds. Like, it was kind of a weird moment, right? She goes, I can't even imagine you being angry.
Mm.
And that was that hit me, right? Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
man, what a fantastic compliment to know where I had been. And, I woke up and I'm sure there's people out there that completely understand. You wake up and I woke up in the morning, I was just angry. I didn't even know why I was angry. I
Yeah.
hadn't even had my eggs yet, right? Like,
Yeah. You just wake up angry.
and I'm just not just so unhappy. And sadly enough,
sometimes you don't know where the feelings are coming from.
yeah. Sadly enough, we ended up getting a divorce. It was kind of a weird thing. We didn't know how to communicate when I was happy all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh.
And I've done subsequent
so
trainings.
Different that.
Yeah, I was so and that's got to be, I don't know how she would characterize it. It's amicable. I've talked to her this week, actually. But it was just, and I think she would admit, and it's my biggest failure, right? We were just shy of 33 years married when we got divorced. And part of that was, and I will say this to anybody listening, that part of that was I'm past 30 years married. I'm like, I'm coasting, right? Like, I'm like, we're into and you don't get to do that, right? Like, there's no point in time where you are in a relationship with somebody that you get to coast.
Yeah.
So there were several things, obviously, but yeah. And now that one, that one class and I just ordered, I just ordered a pizza. And I can tell you the name of the restaurant, and I stopped by Village Pantry. I got like a 2-liter of soda and like some candy bars, and like literally I was well over 400 pounds and just unhappy. So you go from being a combat veteran. Obviously I was in shape physically. We were doing PT. I was stationed in Germany, and there were a couple of weekends I loved to cycle, and I'd cycled over 100 miles in a day. They call a century, and I had a great road bike, and the bike trails were amazing. So I'm in shape physically. I'm happy. And how do you, at one morning you wake up and you're like 400 pounds. You're like, how did I get here? Right? Like, it's a slow, insidious thing when you're unhappy. And now I get to teach and help some other veterans. I do breakthrough sessions for folks if they want them, and now that's the thing. And talking about stuff like this, I've gotten to give several speeches for some. There's a great charity in Rhode Island that I've worked with, and does equine therapy for veterans. So,
okay, wow.
Because sometimes
Cool.
People aren't in the spot where they're even able to talk, right?
Yeah.
And the horses are just amazing, right? Like, I don't know what you know about equine therapy, but it's an amazing charity. Dare to Dream Ranch. I get nothing from those guys. They're fantastic. Karen, I'll throw a shout out to you and your organization. But there are times where, and I think, being a Marine veteran yourself, there are times, specifically, we tend to be a little bit harder bunch to reach sometimes. And I don't want to put that out there and make that. I don't want to put that out there and make that true.
It is though. Like, the Marines are the worst. I swear. Like, in reaching, because it's just so much programming.
Right. Yeah.
In the Marine Corps, where it's and I was definitely brainwashed for like most of my time in. I think my last 2 years was where I was kind of a little bit deprogramming myself for numerous reasons and things that were going on in my life. But
But that programming allows, you know, Marines. I got to be honest. I'm Army. I get it, but I have so much respect for the Marine Corps just because of that programming that you guys work as a well-oiled machine most of the time, right? Like
yeah, I
and
definitely had good times in the Marine Corps where you really feel that camaraderie
yeah,
between the Marines. And we did work really well as a team sometimes.
yeah.
It's been different units because sometimes people get in their own way and they you know,
There's always outliers. There's always
throw people under
somebody
the
that
bus.
wants to be the fly in the ointment, right?
Yeah, it just depends on the situation. It was always dependent upon the unit that I went to. Some units were very cohesive and others were just very toxic. So, but I feel like I got that contrast for a reason in my life.
Oh, absolutely. Now you get to do what you do now.
Yeah, exactly. It's brought me to who I am today. So, but it's funny, something kind of sparked in me when you said that you were like a completely different person. And I've been studying a lot of quantum stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, he made a quantum leap.
I did, absolutely.
That's onto a new timeline, basically.
Well, yeah, and that's it. It really kind of felt like that because it felt like, you know, once again, it felt like I hit a reset button and I was, you know, 5 or 6 years younger, and I looked young, like physically, I felt younger. I started losing some weight, and like I was, I literally was younger,
and
right?
your body feels different.
And I
Yeah.
say that now when I go to the gym, right? Like I'm getting younger, and it's not maybe theoretically true, but you know, it maybe not grammatically true that I'm getting younger, but at the same time, I'm adding years to my life. When I go to the gym, when I like, so you're in a sense you're because you're pushing back that ultimate, right? Like nobody gets out alive. So that ultimate demise, you know, you're pushing that back, and so it feels, you know, it feels like you're buying time. It feels like you're younger.
So that is the thing about the universe and quantum and how it works is basically that time doesn't exist. It only exists in our linear field, but we do have the ability to make changes in ourselves. It basically depends on what we believe and what we think about.
Well, yeah, I say it all the time. Time is just a construct, right? It's something we made up, but it's most of the time it's a pretty invasive construct.
Yeah, that's part of what I'm trying to. I'm in the beginning stages of my business, but I am trying to teach quantum integration, basically.
Yeah.
Because it's something that I know it's my purpose now. It took me a while to get here, but
it never goes as quickly as we want it to go, right? Like,
yeah,
you know, you can say that you wish you'd have been here in your 20s, right? Like, you know,
yeah,
but you couldn't have been because that's not the path, right? Like
exactly.
I needed to go through all that crap that I went through that made me angry to like, and sometimes it's frustrating, but
it's all in divine timing. It really is.
Yeah.
The universe, well, God, I guess so. Infinite intelligence is just so unfathomable for our minds that like the mathematical and geometrical equations that are embedded in the universe is like amazing.
It's like, yeah. Well, you know, I did this. So when I got done with this breakthrough session, we were in Carlsbad, California, and there's a guy who does sound therapy there. And so this was the first time I'd heard about any of this, right? Like, and they're like, so the guy that said I was fucking younger, like he goes, so do you want to go to, do you want to go do the gong now? That's like, I think that's how he asked me. And I'm like, And I thought, is he talking gong? No, like I'm not into that, right? Like he's like, no, gong. And this guy in Carlsbad, I wish I could remember his name. John is his first name as well.
Yeah.
You can look it up. Sound therapy. He has this studio. He has an 8-foot gong.
Wow.
8-foot diameter gong. It's just amazing. And so we go, and it starts to, and you want to talk about the quantum entanglement and all this stuff. Like he's the first guy that told me on to, and like I forget names and all of that stuff, but there's a guy in Japan who did, and I'm sure you've heard of it, the water experiment, right? Like where he would speak to the water. And this was the first time I'd ever heard any of this. And if the listeners have never checked this out, like he had bottles of water that he would like speak to, and he would say, I love you, and all this stuff, right? Like, and then another one that you say, I hate you. And the crystallization of the water when he would flash freeze it was night and day difference. And so, and if you really think about it, everything's frequency, right? Like light is frequency, right? Like we do red light therapy to help, help heal our, sound is frequency. And they've determined that sound aligns the valence. My dad would talk chemistry and physics. So I love all the science stuff, right? Like, so the valence electrons, the electrons that are in the outermost layer of an atom, they will align up differently when you vibrate them at a different frequency. And so and they've determined now that they've proven scientifically that when they vibrate these cells at a certain frequency, it promotes healing, or it detracts from healing, right? Like, I don't know the right word.
Literally make you sick.
Absolutely, it can make you sick, and then when you realize, and it's the same thing, when you realize people around you are constantly emitting this frequency. Some people literally make you sick, and some people help heal you. And that's where I started that journey. I'm like, I want to be that force multiplier for good, right? Like I have my own podcast as well, but and one of the times, one of the things I did was I went to a grocery store, and it was a Tuesday. I was in Massachusetts at a Stop and Shop. That was my grocery store. No commercial for them or what, but like that's where I shopped. I loved it. And I'm standing in line, and for some reason this Tuesday was really, really busy, and people were kind of grumpy, and the weather outside I think was not really great or whatever. And I'm standing there, I'm just got a few items, and I'm like, I'm consciously going to push my energy onto these people. And it's just going to be light, and it's going to be love, and it's going to be just, and it was an amazing experiment for me because I could literally see while standing in line, I would change somebody from a frown to a smile. and the checkout person, and I'm just a guy who talks to everybody anyway, right? Like, but, and now I do it more with purpose a lot of times. Like, but the checkout, it was a dude in the checkout counter. I don't remember people's names. I like,
you just have
but I can see his face. I'm a visual guy. I can still see his face. I had longer hair. And anyway, when I got in line, I'm like 8 people back or whatever. Like there were lines. It was kind of weird. He's kind of grumpy. He's just kind of had a frown on his face. He's doing his thing. And I just started with the guy in front of me. And, I commented, I don't know. I commented on something he had in his cart or something, or made fun of something I had. I'm like, I probably had something health food, like avocados and fresh lettuce and a candy bar or something like, these two things don't go together. And so I just started joking around with him. And like, he started laughing a little bit, and you could literally watch it. You could literally watch the energy. And when I left that store, the checkout guy was joking. We were laughing. I was walking out, and he's like shouting some stuff to me or whatever. and the guy in line behind me, they were laughing. They were, the guy bagging the groceries we were joking like, and it was just a conscious thought experiment. And then, obviously something you might postulate as well is, what if everybody just went out and just tried to have a positive influence on 3 people?
Yeah, like actually experimented.
look at the world. I mean, like, but if everybody did, and you don't have to, it wasn't a big deal. Like I didn't tip the dude $50 or something.
Yeah.
I didn't have, I didn't like, you don't have to do it.
It's just your energy. Yeah.
And how many times can just a simple smile from somebody, like literally you pull up at a stoplight and you just look over and you can just kind of be like, whatever, or you can just smile and give a wave, right? Like, or, I'm literally the dude that's singing along sometimes really badly to the song, with the windows down, like, or if you've got your windows down and you're singing, I'll sing along with you. I'll turn my
that's funny.
little stuff like that. But think about how and I sometimes I give talks on stage or whatever, and that's awesome, and you can kind of change it. But I think what's more important is the little day-to-day, because how often am I on a stage? How often am I on a podcast? How often? Yeah, that's cool, right? Like hopefully you can make a change with people listening, but it's those little day-to-day things that we all do, where we're standing in line at Walmart, or we're getting gas at the gas pump, or whatever it is. And it's those little interactions, I think, honestly, that compound, and those daily interactions, and they make a difference in the world. Right. Like, and some people don't. Some people, their worst nightmare is getting up on a stage and talking to a group of people, right? Like, so that's but everybody does those little things, right? Like whatever it is. And so that's kind of where that's how I live my life now, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. I definitely believe I feel like, especially as military people, it's like we have to see things, we have to see like proof of things. And that's why I was actually led through my kind of awakening, I guess, through science. It was literally through science. And like, I've always been interested in the human body. I majored in kinesiology back in the day. And then, so physical was where I started, but then I went to like psychology and then neurology and quantum physics. And it just kind of like, consciousness. I started studying consciousness. I'm actually trying to use my GI Bill now to go for a master's in consciousness.
There you go. I didn't know they had such a degree. That's amazing.
Yeah, they're starting to integrate that. Like I didn't even realize either until one day I was just like prompted to, I guess, to like look it up. And some places have it now. National University has it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, to me, it seems like, and like I said, I grew up, my dad taught chemistry and physics, and like in our basement, we had a finished basement, and on the wall in our basement, we literally had an old periodic table of the elements hung up. Like for a while it wasn't, and so I'm playing on the floor with my army men, right? Like this is programming, right? Talking about programming, I've got little army men on the floor, and there's a periodic table of the chart, or the chart periodic table of the elements and it was an older one because they'd added some or whatever. And but so I really grew up with this science mindset. And what I find amazing now, like I said, is science has now proven that if you run a certain frequency, or like red light therapy or whatever, right? Like a certain frequency of light, a certain frequency of sound heals the body. Right. And I'm like, well, and then you go back and you're like, and you look at these like Tibetan singing bowls, right? Which are a frequency. And I'm like, these people knew this thousands and thousands of years ago. We think
it's like ancient wisdom.
Yeah, we think we're so smart now that we're finally catching up to what we've been doing for thousands of years.
Yeah, finally figuring it out now. Like, oh wait, they used to do that back in the day.
Yeah, and so yeah, I was just in fact, I was a place in Phoenix or Carefree that had some singing bowls, and I need to get one. So
wow.
I gotta figure out which. They have different frequencies. I got to figure out which one.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, which one like resonates with you? with your soul, basically. I've found that with everything now. It's like when you like, I can literally feel now when things resonate with my soul, and like it's just pretty interesting getting into this like side of things. Being conscious, like you said, just being consciously aware. And
well, and I think that's the thing why in people teach it, your circle, your people that are around you are so vitally important, because they either lift you up or they drag you down, literally, through their energy. And which is not to say that people don't have bad days. You can't be and like you said, what really gets me excited now is when you help somebody else out. And that's, when I'm standing in this grocery store in Massachusetts, right? Like and I helped change that attitude. What did it do for me? Right? Like it almost seems selfish, because you get so much out of it when you help somebody else, right? Like you're like, so did I do it for them or did I do it for me? Because I feel great when I help.
It makes you feel better. Yeah, that's true.
And so,
but I do believe in what you said earlier and how we have to take care of ourselves in order to spread that light.
Oh yeah. So I had to, for me, my own journey, I had to assist a few more times. So I assisted. It was COVID, like I said, and I assisted at the master's level again, because I was able to. I was selling real estate. Like I said, I've done a bunch of stuff. So I was selling real estate at the time. Lost some customers because they didn't know. It was the beginning of COVID. They didn't know if their job was secure or whatever. And so I had sold some house. I had some money in the bank, and I'm like, I traveled with this group and I assisted teaching, and I had to see it a few times. There's a thing. It's a lot of us are 3-time convincers. I had to see it 3 times and really kind of integrate it into me. And the 3rd time, and then I'm like, okay, I can do this. I know I could have done it after the first time.
Yeah.
Right?
But you have the doubts.
Yeah. And so I continued to help and teach, and then that's where it kind of clicked for me. And like I said, you have these visions of grandeur that I'm gonna, you mentioned, I think Tony Robbins or something, he's on a stage in a stadium, and you want to be that guy because he has such this huge influence. But I think the message for most people is we have no idea how much influence we have every day. Just literally just putting out love in our energy. Right, like it. You don't even have to say anything to people.
You literally.
I couldn't be like talking to. I couldn't like roll my window down and sing with the person next to me. And you don't have to be that person. You just gotta smile and just exude that love. And we're pulled in so many directions today, and we're so divided and so disconnected, and we're not supposed to be that way, in my opinion. We're not meant to be. It's the duality of this world. But I do believe that we are trying to come out of it. Like our consciousness is rising in the earth. Oh yeah, I believe
is rising in humans every day. So I definitely believe the more of us that choose to hold the light and keep it shining, it's just going to affect it more and more. So we're really doing a big job globally.
Yeah. Well, the thing I love, and one of my teachers said this one time, and like I'm just, so it's a military thing. Like, I don't know, I'm a little bit of a prepper guy. Like, I always carry a flashlight with me. I always have a flashlight, and it's been useful sometimes. And one of my teachers at one point in time said, there's no place where you can go in and buy something to shine darkness. And for me, that's such a powerful thing, right? Like, I can go, even at your local convenience store, they got the cheap little flashlights or whatever. Like, you can shine light anywhere. On the darkest night, the night cannot overcome that light. And that just resonates with me so much. And so now partly it's a practical thing. I like having a flashlight with me, but it partly it's just a reminder that you always can shine light. Even even on the brightest day, I've even got a really bright flashlight. So even on the brightest day, there's shadows and such, like under a tree or whatever, that this flashlight still works, right? Like, I mean, it's bright enough that even on a bright sunny day, I can still see a little bit, right? Like it's adding a little bit. And I'm just my whole thought process that I want to leave everybody with, just shine your light a little bit every day. And the light can never be, the darkness can really never overcome the light, right? Like if it's a bright sunny day, you can't shine a shadow, right?
Yeah.
You can't do it. It doesn't work that way.
It really can't. And then when humans start to realize like, oh, the power we really do have, like it's gonna be amazing. I already see it like transpiring.
and I'm with you. I believe that the more this message gets out, people start to see it, and
it's gonna spark.
We're cycling up. I believe that this whole planet, people are paying attention a little bit more. They're understanding a little bit more, and like I said, science is finally catching up.
Science is merging, and then just even what I've seen in my journey, 2020 was really when I first started studying like consciousness, and Joe Dispenza was my like go-to guy.
Love that.
I love Joe. That was when I started. But then even from then to now, I had to go through some things in between time, but it shined lights to things that I still needed healed. And so now that that's over with, I see so many more, like it's to me, it's blown up, like the consciousness world, like it's getting, because back when I first started, there's really only a couple people talking about it that I saw, but now I feel like it's a whole other realm. Like we're starting to make that split into like, I know it's like 4D, 5D consciousness that we're.
Well, it's due to people like you, right? Like you're just spreading your word, and you're getting the message out, and it's amazing.
Yeah. I was definitely like, I just felt this strong pull, like, okay, you need to get back on social media. Like I do feel like it's a part of my purpose too, is to like get it out on social media and YouTube and all that. So.
Well, it feels great. Like I literally had somebody this week. Can I say my podcast? Like
say your podcast, how people can reach you if they want to. Yeah.
But I had a woman reach out this week that she's like, and just a friend. I didn't know her that well, and literally she felt comfortable talking to me. She was on the phone crying with me one day, and I said, well, check out this podcast. I did one on attitude. The last one I did was on attitude, and I do them sporadically. And I'm goofy, and like I'm me, right?
Yeah.
So and literally a couple days later, she's like, you have no idea how much that helped me. And I mean, that's what you're doing too, right? Like you're reaching a different audience, and but you're just encouraging people and getting that message out there. So my podcast is it's called Becoming and Staying Dangerous.
I love that.
Well, it comes from I started thinking about it during COVID, and I was at a Subway sandwich shop, or I don't know if it was Subway, or I was at a sandwich shop getting this up, and I think it's Subway that has the big murals on the wall of these guys standing on the girders building the everybody's seen the picture, I think, probably the skyscraper, and they're like eating their lunch out on a girder, like over 50 stories high or whatever. None of them are wearing a harness. Nobody's got a hard hat on. They're just in t-shirts and leather soled shoes, like heaven forbid. And I'm like, those were dangerous men that doing a dangerous job, and they built this country. And who do I want to emulate? And for me, it was a COVID thing, and plenty of people will disagree. And I'm like, I'm not putting on a mask. I'm not cowering in my house. I'm not. I will be that dangerous man that will go out and and do the dangerous things. And
Yeah.
that's kind of where that comes from. Right?
Yeah.
Like, and it like
I did that too. I
I
was the one that was like, I don't need to wear a mask. I won't get sick. And I didn't.
yeah. Saying, well, one of my teachers talks about psychoimmunology, right? Like he's got a doctorate in psychoimmunology, and he talks about, if you think you're going to get sick, if you think things are going to be bad, then chances are they are, right? That was a Henry Ford quote. Whether you think you can or you can't,
you can't.
you're generally right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I think that was also a what was that? Oh, like the ancient Chinese wisdom too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's been
a lot of different,
and really our mind creates our reality. I believe that. And when the really cool thing and the really scary thing is we're in charge of that, right? Like so there's so many ways to get pulled in so many different directions today in our society. It's just and this will take us down a rabbit hole, right? Like we can
that's a whole other rabbit hole.
Well, because now I'm working on losing weight still, always getting fit and healthy, and always it's about being fit and healthy now instead of necessarily what the number on a scale says. But it matters what you put in your mouth, and it also matters what you watch. It matters what you listen to. It matters what it's all the things that you consume. Is
consumption.
So
that's true. That's why it's funny because all I watch now is like either YouTube channels on this stuff or like there's a Gaia, the new that app. I watch the Gaia app all the time.
They're headquartered in Boulder. I used to live I had a business in Boulder, Colorado.
Okay. Wow.
And so I know Gaia. Yeah, they're
fantastic. Yeah, I love it.
A lot of Joe Dispenza.
Yeah, Joe Dispenza on there. I've seen so many different things on there, and I'm just like, wow, the way that they're studying this stuff now it's pretty amazing.
It's awesome. So and it's like I said, we all have that light inside of us.
Yeah. And I do believe that we're moving into a time where authenticity is going to be the entrepreneurial way forward. Being your true self.
It's interesting you say that. I literally this week, somebody mentioned to me the highest vibration is not love, it's authenticity. And I want to say it was tied in with and I don't know. I listen and look at so much stuff. It may have been a Joe Dispenza something or whatever, but they're like, what is the highest frequency? They've done all the scientific studies now and authenticity was higher than like love. And I think, and for me, what that means to me is we are beings of love, right? Like, so, it's such a high. So when we're our true authentic selves, we can share that more. And when we share that, it changes the world literally.
Yeah. I believe that 100% because that is the core of our being is unconditional love. Like we come straight from source. Yeah. Like our energy source. We're all made of energy. Source is the creator. And we're all cells in his body, basically.
Yeah. Well,
so we are all source energy.
I grew up in the church. I grew up in a very religious. I still love. I use God. I know a lot of people don't like that. They like creator, source, whatever. But the universe, and I use all those, right? Like, but I always liked. They're like God is our Father, and I'm like, when you really stop to think about that, we are. And some people, I got to be careful when I say this because some people then they're like, well, I am God. No, it's not. Don't misinterpret me. I don't feel that way at all. Right. There's a higher power. But we have that in us too.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I mean,
so that's the thing. We are, so it's so hard to explain because it is, it's the infinite intelligence. So it is hard to explain, but I think for me, I do say God sometimes, but to what I know now, I feel like God is almost a small word for what he is, for what it is, because
Right. Yeah.
it
I get
is
that.
masculine and feminine
Oh
energy.
yeah.
It's not like a man in the sky with a beard
Well,
that people like imagine.
you talk about that. It's a really popular topic now, and I do a
Mhm,
whole lot with masculine, feminine, um,
mhm.
and I teach on that a lot. And so sometimes just to shake things up, I'll be like, God, she's this great person, like, and I'll put she,
Yeah, she.
and people,
People
it'll
are like,
freak people
what?
out. I'm like, well, from my perspective, well, and God is both feminine
God
and
is
masculine,
both.
right? Like, but from my way of thinking, and once again, it's just our minimal way of thinking, right? Like
Yeah.
the universe is so huge, and
Mhm,
from my little brain thing, to me, creation is feminine, right? Like
mhm.
because that's what I see. Women have, you
Oh
know,
yeah, the creation,
yeah.
the creative
So
ability.
women,
Yeah.
it's feminine that women are creation, and
Mhm.
what an awesome like. And I don't know, we may get. I'm not politically correct in any way, shape, or form, but feminine are just like they're amazing. I just somehow we've some people think that they're less than somehow because we're different or whatever, and I just don't ascribe.
So
I don't ascribe to that at all.
So
Right?
I do know because
Yeah,
we've been in a patriarchy for so long,
yeah.
that they were trying to shut out the divine feminine,
Oh yeah, I
but
believe
the
that.
divine feminine is coming back. But the thing is, every human being is supposed to have a balance of both masculine and
Yeah, we
feminine
do. We
energies.
do. Yeah, we do.
But it's
Absolutely.
just,
And
it's out
so
of balance right now.
so
So
and that's where I say God as a feminine. Like God, she did.
yeah,
I
yeah.
I grew up. Her head would spin around if she heard me say that. But
Yeah, I know. So I've actually recently, not recently, but I guess in the last 5 months had heard about Sophia, who is the feminine energy of God. Sophia is like
okay,
the mother and the wisdom and the yeah.
okay. Well, that's
So
yeah. I didn't know that. I maybe I need to. There's so much out
yeah,
there.
there's a lot out there, a lot of information, and I do believe that since so I believe in higher beings that are out there too, that extraterrestrials that have a higher level of understanding than we do. And they're like light beings too. They're I feel very connected to, like, my dad was always into aliens, and
Well, I
I was always kind of drawn to it, but then I was like shut it out because it was like weird.
yeah. Well, and I think from a scientific perspective, it's really kind of absurd to think that we're like the only game in town,
Right. Like we're
right?
the only ones here.
Like really? Have you seen how big the galaxy is? Like
Yeah.
that
Like
that's just what we can fathom the galaxy,
mhm,
like, and there's more.
mhm.
So yeah, I don't know. I have
That's
now we're going down a rabbit hole that
yeah,
I can't
yeah. There's more rabbit. There's so many
I,
rabbit holes.
I
Like
can talk all day, but I don't know that I can speak intelligently about. How's that?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I have like studies that I've had, and I've had things that I feel in my soul are truth.
Yeah,
But then I do know there's also a lot more that I need to learn too. So I'm still in the process of learning.
that's the fun part. I think
Yeah.
the more the more you learn, the more you know that you don't know.
Mhm.
Right? You're
But
like, oh my god.
I do believe that there is a cloud, like how we have clouds
Yeah.
where information is stored. I believe that there's an infinite cloud that you can reach at a certain frequency. Um, and you can get information from, because I do feel like I've had certain downloads of information in my brain in the past like 5 months that I've learned a lot in a short amount of time that like seems impossible,
Oh yeah.
but so many things are possible that we thought were impossible.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's just I love quotes. I don't know if you can tell.
Mhm.
I love it. And that's takes me to the Walt Disney quote. It's kind of fun to do the impossible. And I'll use that word impossible. And some people have called me on it before, and they're like, "Oh, you can't say impossible because that limits you or whatever." And and so for me, that's where, when I say that word, that's what I think of. I think of Walt, and Walt Disney now is controversial, but
Yeah.
everything is.
Mhm.
But that quote from him is, it's kind of fun to do the impossible. And
Mhm.
so impossible to me just means we just haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of a cool thing. And that's where you start playing with the meanings of words, right? Like I had another person reach out to me today, and they're like, I do some leadership stuff, and they're like, well, leadership means different things to different. Of course it does.
Yeah.
Like any word like impossible or leadership or what, any word that you want to use, it means something completely different, or it can.
Yeah.
Hopefully it means something similar to like you and I, but it can mean something absolutely completely different. And
I do believe that people have their own unique ways of leading, but I do believe there is a core, because I felt this deep inside, like for the longest time, that I like knew what a good leader was supposed to be. And I would see that and gravitate towards the good leaders in the Marine Corps. And then I'd see the leaders I didn't want to be like,
Yeah.
So I do feel like there's a sense of, and I feel like this is where I get this from my star family, whoever it is out there that I'm still learning about. I've never felt like I was like at home here. So that's one of the things that like, I feel like I came here to do is like shine that leadership and like what leadership is meant to be. And
sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think a common thread, and I started maybe with this, and maybe we can kind of tie up with this, but when I was angry, it was just, I felt that there was more. Right. And I had stopped looking for the more, like in me. And so I think that's in all of us. There's always this little drive, and some of it, we've gotten good at pushing it down. We medicate it. We drink it away, whatever, however we choose to do that. My drug of choice is, 16-inch pizza and 2 liters of soda, whatever. And that's seriously, it's a coping mechanism. Yeah. But and you could argue that that's just as harmful as a 6-pack of beer or whatever, anything anybody else is doing. But at the end of the day, we've gotten really good in our society, I think, of just pushing down and hiding our light, right? The light because we have all of this within us. And so for me, at least, that's where I said, like, I like to just shine it in little increments that people can deal with. And for me, that's the grocery store line or the gas pump or whatever. And those little, when you start letting it out a little bit at a time, you'll find that I think it wants to get free on its own, kind of almost. It's
like sometimes your soul is screaming to get out. Sometimes,
and we can do it in increments, right? Like it's hard to go from just being an angry guy to this super guy that is happy. It happens in increments. So, and the easy one for me was the grocery store line.
That's definitely something I learned too, because you do have to kind of step your way into it. Because I feel like I've had visions of doing these amazing things and speaking and doing all this stuff, but then there's times where I do feel small again, and I'm like, well, I can give myself grace and do it a little bit at a time.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And like build my power within, because we do have the power. We just have to say the right things to ourselves and be conscious about what we're thinking and lifting ourselves up versus, thinking the negative things.
Oh yeah. I do a gratitude practice every night, and I find that helped me better to do it at night than to do it in the morning. And just because I wake up in the morning thinking about what I thought about the night before, right? So
yeah, that's true. I do feel like nighttime is like the best time to do it if you don't have time to do it in the morning.
and a lot of times it's a conscious choice. That's
Yeah.
the whole point, right? Like you're like, yeah, I ought to wake up and just feel like I'm going to go conquer the world because I have this light inside me. And, you know, and when I started teaching and doing some stuff, that everybody's like, well, you're like this person. No, I'm a human, right? Like, stuff gets to me, and they're like, have you never been angry? And they're like, have you never been angry? I said, no, of course I get angry. I get angry at stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, but it comes and goes a lot quicker. It's
it doesn't affect you the same as it used to. Like, it doesn't stay.
I don't sweat the little stuff the same way anymore. And I think it's those little incremental steps. And I think it's fun to just watch your energy. Like I said, if I can implore people to do anything, it's to watch your energy at the grocery store line. Just be super happy. And you don't even have to say anything. I'm a guy who says stuff, but you don't even have to say anything. Just stand there and consciously like that energetic love out to the people around you. And I'm betting more often than not, you're going to see a physical change in the people around you. And that's so cool.
Yeah. And that stuff, when you really are consciously aware of it, you see how we are all connected, because there was actually something I did. I was building this energy to do a speech to these Marines, because I was working at the Wounded Warrior Battalion, and I was the sexual assault prevention and response victim advocate after I got out of the military. And so I started, I just didn't like, it was so depressing there, and I felt like I needed to do something about it. So I started doing speeches at the Still in the Fight briefs. And I was building up so much energy that like I could see it like affect other people. Even the chaplain, like out of nowhere, he had never said anything before, and I didn't tell anyone I was going to do this speech. I was just, it was building inside me. Like I was like excited for it and nervous for it too, because I was getting over some other fears of speaking that that had transpired. Because the thing is, I used to speak, and then I was put in a situation where somebody was trying to put me, dim my light, and then so I had to revisit that situation and kind of like get over those fears. But my energy sparked something in the chaplain to say something that day, because out of nowhere, he tried to say something motivational. And you could tell he was kind of like, he was just prompted to do it, but didn't have anything prepared. And I just thought that was so amazing, because I was like, oh my God, like that literally came from my energy, because like he had never.
And he probably didn't even know where it came from.
He didn't know,
I feel inspired to do this, right? Like, what a great change.
And then right after he spoke is when I did my speech, and like I could feel the energy of the room, and everyone like got excited and started like, saying their oorahs and So I was like, dang, like it was a good feeling. So, and the crazy thing is, after I did a couple speeches in a row, I felt like I had done my job there, because everybody else around me was getting more positive and more motivational. And one of the oldest guys there, he started doing and saying things that I know he hadn't even done before.
Nice. Yeah. And that's the whole thing, when I'd love to, if I can do anything, start a movement, right? Like start a movement of just everybody just pushing positive energy.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to, because I know a lot of people aren't comfortable with that, right? They're like, I'm not going to get it. And like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to, right? Like,
but like you said, it takes little things,
It's the little
things. It doesn't
things.
have to be, it doesn't have to be big things, but I guess it was just what I felt my calling was.
And there are people like you that can do the big things, right? There are people like you that are like, give me an audience. I'll stand up and I will inspire. I'll inspire 1,000 Marines today,
Yeah. Like I literally, and this was the first time I had done speeches in the past, but this was the first time I felt like I was really getting my information from source energy, because I was thinking of speeches I had never thought of before, and I was writing them down, and then I was practicing my delivery method, and it was almost like I was being guided in how to deliver it too.
Very nice. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So
like, one of my favorite sayings of all time, and maybe we should end here. I don't know, but
Yeah.
the universe is constantly conspiring to assist us.
Yeah.
And I believe that so much. All we have to do is just let it and pay attention to it, right? Like those messages and stuff. The universe is constantly sending us stuff because it wants to assist us. It wants to help.
It wants to help. But we have free will choice, so it does take us.
Well, I don't think one of the things I do now, and once again, we can do a whole nother podcast on meditation. And to me, when I meditate, that's me putting my antenna up, right? Like, okay, now I can listen to whatever's coming in. And that's the whole thing. Now I can listen to what the universe has for me. I say it all the time, like, prayer, and I pray and then I meditate, and I'm like, prayer is when you pray to God, and meditation is when you shut up and listen to what God has to say for you. And oddly enough, God has a lot more to say to me than I have to say to God.
That's funny. Yeah.
So,
it was definitely a great conversation though. Like I felt the energy. So I love that. Ever since I've started this podcast, I've had nothing but amazing energy. So
yeah.
But I will end it there just because I don't want to go too long or take up your day also. So
no, I've got time, but people have, people have a limited attention span. We just do, right?
So we'll end it there. And did you say where people can find you if they want to see the podcast?
Becoming and Staying Dangerous.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's on Spotify. I don't know, like I do it because I like to put out positive things and just like you do, right? Like so and it's funny, I've got a picture on there, and it's if you know where I took the picture, you get bonus points or something, I think, or but, it's kind of a goofy picture. I like having fun, and so
okay.
And I like to think I'm a dangerous guy, right? Like, so Becoming and Staying Dangerous.
Yeah, like literally there's a dangerous, it can be a good thing.
Absolutely.
And it's like we have to deprogram like what we've been taught, what is good and bad.
Well, and that's in the title of that, there's a little bit of the double entendre and a play on words, and and it's just, it highlights the fact that we do think of things differently, right? So I like to have fun with it. So
yeah, that's awesome. I love it. I'm going to check out your podcast too. All right. Well, we'll end it there. You guys have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me share. And
it was amazing having you. So
I love remembering who I am, and I like to hear about other people who remember who they are. So
yeah, that's exactly what I was, going for. It's just remembering who we truly are at the soul level, not this name that we came into for this short period of time. All right.
We'll see you.
See you guys later.